So I want to start by telling about our journey, reminding of the long journey we took to actually get to this point of running the conference and coming to the close of this amazing experience. Those in the OrgComm, we had about half of the OrgComm together at May 2019 at CHI. Here we are sitting on the floor in Glasgow because we couldn't find any meeting rooms and having our first check-in. Shamsi and I met the CSCW co-chairs, Andrea Wiggins and Matthew Beats, and got to know them very well and enjoyed working with them and getting all inspired about the joint program we had planned, where we were going to make this connection between collaborative and social computing and technical HCI. Such a program we had in mind to do things. We traveled with Andrea and Matthew all over the US, trying to find a location where we could actually accommodate our joint program on the overlap day, which turned out to be quite a challenge, and finally landed in Minneapolis. And then 2020 happened. In March, of course, there was COVID. In April and May, we delayed the deadline twice. In late April, made the announcement that we were going to go virtual just before the final deadline. And in June, held the virtual PC meeting, as Fanny and Stephanie told you about on Wednesday. And then the rest of it happened from our desks from there. We gave ourselves enough time to actually develop the online version of the program at that point.
So yeah, so this was an amazing conference. I mean, after, as the conference days got closer and the number of hours that we were sleeping at night started to get shorter, we managed to put together, thanks to an amazing team, a pretty successful conference. So we had 700 plus attendees. I think yesterday I checked, it was 704. So the original 1,500 that we thought about from the joint point of view, we actually surpassed that. CSCW had close to 1,000 participants. So I think that we are well over that, even taking into account the overlap in participants. And we have covered 6 continents, new attendees. We have been looking at how we can incorporate them into the community. Can you just move up a little bit, Karen? Yeah. So we also had a number of really great plenary presentations. We had speakers who have given us the vision about where we are and where we need to go next. And hopefully this encourages the community to think of that from a new lens as we are kind of like coming up with these new technology innovations. People are looking towards the WISC community to come up with new technology, but I would encourage us to all look at what we are developing through the lenses that we were presented during these plenary talks. On day one, we had an amazing plenary panel that looked at 4 decades of systems and collaborative research overlaps, and basically, oh, sorry, I'm missing the lasting impact award. So Michael Bernstein and his team received the lasting impact award on Soylent. And this work is particularly close to my heart because a lot of the micro productivity work that we have done was actually inspired by the Soylent work. And it not only started a trend of crowdsourcing or a new complete area of crowdsourcing work, it's also encouraged other types of work that is beyond focused productivity work. So I think that it is indeed an impactful piece of work that was a trailblazer in many senses. And then, yes, this was the panel that we're talking about. There's a nice sketch of all our panelists. We had 4 decades of CSCW and WIST research represented in an hour. Karen and I knew that an hour was not going to be enough, but this was an amazing walk through memory lane. But it's also something that I would recommend any young researcher who's embarking on this space to kind of like look at this video, learn what the past was like, learn what the present is like, and learn where we should be going from here. These are luminaries in our fields, and I think that they did such a great job. It's something that people will keep on watching to learn more about where we were. So let's think about the conference, and if we might say so, I think that things went surprisingly well. We were bracing ourselves for a lot of things to go wrong, as does every chair. But and especially when you're dealing with technology, and you're dealing with technology that we don't quite know how it would scale or hold when we are trying to manage 600 plus people or 700 people. the demos and posters, which is the backbone of WIST, that session actually worked very well. And people gave us feedback about how well people were able to navigate. They were able to actually get on calls and interact with the authors and the presenters. They were able to connect. They were able to go deeper on topics, and this was really valued. And I would like to thank our attendees because they were so engaged. I was glancing through the Discord server, and all the channels had people going back and forth, and it gave me the sense that you were really at a conference. You could see that people are gathering around a demo. It's just happening in virtual space. A lot of us got much more comfortable in Discord. Karen and I never used Discord before this conference, I think. And this was something that people were able to pick up very quickly. I think that our organizing committee and the SVs were really helpful in getting people up to speed, providing the instructions as needed. And it seems that Discord would be useful even in person to kind of like facilitate those finding people and just act as a sharing platform. And everything seemed to be pretty robust. So I think that we have some lessons for other conferences that might want to also try out being virtual or who might have to be virtual. And I just wanted to touch a little bit upon the scientific experience. It kind of felt like being a conference where people listen to paper, talk to authors. And we tried to replicate that as much as we could. Next slide, Karen.
So we can say that the social aspects, which we were so focused on and we wanted so much to do well at and try and we knew it was going to be the most challenging thing to do, that this was also very promising. And we got so many comments from you guys that Discord was making a difference. It was making a positive difference. Once you got over the learning curve and the many channels, there was a lot of participation. And many people told us, both on Discord and personally, that this setup was an improvement over other virtual experiences that they have had in conferences, and that it was the ability to talk to each other and to jump onto video talks and to encounter people that way. The visibility, the transparency, where people are, ability to search and find them. Lots engaged. You guys were talking to each other. You checked in, you came to the welcome reception. Lots of people came to the town hall. And this ability to continue the conversation almost seamlessly on the chat after you've had a video experience seems to be really working well. So we have these linked video and so the kind of the merging the synchronous and the asynchronous element seems to be something that's effective. Great discussions and planning on diversity inclusion. So hats off to diversity co-chairs Nur Hamdan and Sherry comes about that. And I also have to say, Introduce Your Pet, which came out of nowhere, had 48 posts when I looked at this on Thursday afternoon. And that didn't even include my post. I have a dog too, who's sitting here right now with me. So there are some challenges, no surprise. We saw these coming, most of them, and we've got more work to do on them. And this is going to be the challenge to conference designers in the future. The difficult time zones were really hard for some people, I know, for all of us, really. And on the other hand, we had this tightened schedule, and that made it difficult. Everyone felt that, many people felt that the compressed times for questions, the papers were too tight. We had to switch too quickly between papers, and it was a little bit of a whiplash. You couldn't really absorb the papers. You didn't have that switch over time. So trying to negotiate and balance these needs for, preserving people's attention is so much harder on Zoom, and yet, and trying to find a shorter band of time when we're all together so that it's not so difficult for the time zones for any one group. With these other problems, it's going to be an ongoing challenge. We had envisioned the gallery as being a really important asynchronous resource so that people could browse the gallery in advance and be more prepared when they actually came to the sessions. And this was how the Titan program was going to work. Of course, people don't have time. We weren't able to get the full gallery up and running as far in advance as we had hoped to. And I think there's just unfamiliar to people. And so this might be part of it, just a socialization challenge, and it might need more design tweaking. We can report that ACM we're pretty sure is going to be open sourcing it. So you will probably see a version of the gallery in the future at other conferences, not just WIST. We'll see if it works. If you have ideas for how to make it better, it is worth sharing that feedback, both technically, but also how to deploy it, what to use it for. Unsurprisingly, social remains challenging. There's things that we saw that we really felt personally at this conference. Integrating new participants is especially hard. It's actually hard at an in-person conference as well, but it was especially hard here. What could we do there? We were so focused on just getting the whole mechanism up and running. It wasn't, I don't think we gave as much attention to that as we might have. People feeling pressure to work around the clock. You know, you fit in this conference and you go back and do your day job during the other part, or maybe you're up all night. How do we actually address that? There were some great discussions about this in the town hall yesterday. And how do you satisfyingly make connections and celebrations? I wanted to clap after Sasha's talk and after all the other keynotes and all the papers too, and just not being able to really give that appreciation and feeling the award as a presenter or an author of feeling that is really important. So those are things we all need to work on. So we want you to follow up on your experiences. We want to learn as much as possible from this conference. There's lots of ways you can give us feedback, but think about what technology features will address our social challenges. And I should also say, how can we configure socially to use the technology that we already have in a more effective way. This meeting was all about taking the bleeding edge of technology and trying to repurpose it in a way that it was never intended to be used. And we got pretty far, but more is needed. And it is our job in the HCI and systems community to actually help solve this. We have generated a survey. Many, many thanks. I should be showing their pictures. I forgot, I'm so sorry. Our sustainability co-chairs, Christopher Clark and Kristen Williams, put a huge amount of effort into generating this questionnaire, trying to capture, we had so many questions that everyone on the team wanted to put on this questionnaire, and we had to pare it down. But please respect that effort and the interest and the desire to learn it on the sustainability of the conference and the virtual experience. And so your feedback will be used for the next WIST. The WIST 21 chair had a share in designing this feedback. The survey, it should take 10 minutes of your time, we think. You can access it through the announcement channel on Discord or in an email that has been sent to the email you used to register for the conference. If you cannot find it there, please contact us on Discord, okay? And reach out for the sustainability team. Finally, we are excited to announce that the 2020 WIST Discord server is going to remain open indefinitely. So you can continue the discussion. You can even come back and give a demo in your demo channel at a later time if someone missed it and reaches out to you and says, please, I want to see your demo, I didn't get to see it. You can do that. You don't have to wait till the next WIST to do it. And many thanks to Thomas Langerak, our VEO co-chair, who has volunteered because of his commitment to this project and how important it is to keep this community together, to monitor and keep it safe, to make sure that nothing bad is happening on the Discord server. So it's not going to be a ghost town. Someone's going to be keeping an eye out on it. And with this, I will hand it off to our awards team for the interactivity sessions. So this is Gerard Laput and Alex Mayan and Pascal Fortin and Koji Yatani.
Okay, hello. I hope you all see my slides. So I'm very happy to transition into the Best Demo Awards, but before we do so, I would really like to give a huge shout out to all of our amazing demo presenters. Like, you know, that the demo program was really such a success is like, of course, 95% due to them. They had a lot of awesome setups that we've seen, really thought very deeply how to convey their demo best. And I think they did an awesome job. And we were just like, we absolutely enjoyed. So with that, let's jump right into the awards, and I would like to hand that off to Gerard.
Thanks, Alex. It was incredibly hard to judge the winners of these awards because we were just so blown away by the awesomeness of and the ingenuity of everyone involved in just not only putting together a virtual demo, but keeping the audience engaged and just blowing us over with a lot of the amazing work in these demos. And so this was a mix of both your votes and a jury. So it was a weighted scheme. And here are the 4 awards. Here are the jury. There's Alex, myself, and Xingdong. And we have 4 awards, 3 honorable mentions, and 1 best demo award. So here we go. The first best demo honorable mention is wearable subtitles, augmenting spoken communication with lightweight eyewear for all-day captioning. This was led by Alex Alwal from Google Research and his colleagues. So let's give him a round of applause. The next best demo honorable mention award goes to Reality Sketch, embedding responsive graphics and visualizations in AR with dynamic sketching. This is led by Ryo Suzuki with his folks from University of Calgary, UC Boulder, and Adobe Research. Our next best demo honorable mention goes to Defects Tiles, 3D printing quasi-woven fabric via under extrusion. This was led by Jack Foreman and his colleagues at MIT CSAIL and MIT Media Lab. Let's give these folks a round of applause. And then finally, the best demo award goes to Poimo, portable and inflatable mobility devices customizable for personal physical characteristics, led by Ryumi Niyama from University of Tokyo and Mercari R4D. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for participating in the demos. It was so engaging, and it was perhaps one of our favorite portions of the conference. And this gave us a lot of confidence that in future conferences, we can do a lot more things virtually. So thank you so much.
Okay, and with this, we are looking forward to the SIC Student Innovation Contest Best Demo Awards.
So I assume you can all hear me. Thank you very much for the introduction, Alex. So Koji and I really hope that you had a great time during the Student Innovation Contest this year, but also throughout the full conference and the interactive session. It was a truly an exciting experience to be involved in the shaping of how that could take place. So we were excited to see that many of you took the time to come and see the participants, the Student Innovation Contest participants' work, but most importantly, exchange with them and make them feel welcome in our community. Because as I said at the beginning of the conference, for most of them, it was really their introduction to our community and the first time for UIST. So you may not have noticed, but we also had a team of 4 amazing judges who carefully went through each team's work and presentation. So our judges were Jeffrey Nichols, Amy Zhang, Pedro Lopez, and Ryo Suzuki. And this is me and Koji. The deliberation really weren't easy, and we combined the judges' feedback with the public's vote to decide on which team would return home, quote unquote, with the best SIG award. So without further ado, the winners of the UIST 2020 Student Innovation Contest Best SIG Award is El Robo, safety monitoring and support robot for elders using power waveform of home appliances. So let's give them a good virtual round of applause. So now I leave the microphone to our SV chairs, who truly did an amazing job this year, despite the challenges that came with moving to a virtual format.
I think Karen has to share her slides for us.
Yeah, in the meantime, thanks, Pascal. Hello, I'm Doa Duan from MIT.
And I'm Jingi Lee from Stanford.
Jingi and I served as student volunteer co-chairs this year. The nature of the new virtual format pushed us to make some major changes to how student volunteering works. For example, a lot of the tasks had to be done before the conference, including the training of presenters on how to use the digital presentation tools. As some of the perks of being an SV cannot be provided in a virtual setting, we came up with different incentives, such as exclusive Q&A panels with senior HCI researchers for our volunteers. Finally, the virtual format has allowed a more diverse group of student volunteers who were able to join us from different time zones across the world.
So we just like to extend a huge thanks to the 40 SVs who have worked over 250 hours before and during the conference. You may have seen them checking you in at registration, providing tech support, streaming the papers, managing the question and answer sessions, writing the Medium publications, but they've also done tons of invisible labor behind the scenes in addition to all this to ensure our first virtual WIST ran smoothly. So please join me in showing our massive support and thanks for them.
And last but not least, we again thank our sponsors. A virtual conference still has a lot of hidden costs, and without the support of our sponsors, we would not have been able to manage those costs. Special thanks goes out to ACM. When we first started to think about whether we should be going virtual or not, one of the biggest concerns we had is that what is going to happen to that contract that we signed with the hotel, because you sign the documentation and you never think that you will actually need to break out of it. But the pandemic just like switched everything for us. But at the get-go, ACM had our back. They told us is that just take the best decision that you need to. Don't worry about the fines. We will take care of it. And with that support, it was a much easier decision for us to decide whether we should switch, because we wanted to have everyone's safety in mind. They were amazing. We cannot thank them enough. And what do I say about this group of people? Jingy and Dua mentioned the invisible labor of the SVs, and these are the heroes of WIST 2020. And I'm sure that when they signed up, none of them were thinking what they were actually signing up for. Most of them did 2 conferences worth of work, and the second one being far more daunting than the first one. They were relentless in the work that they did. They never complained. They were innovative. They were creative. They were always ready to take on new responsibilities. To the last moment, they strive for perfection. Karen and I thank you all from the bottom of our heart. If any of you need a recommendation at any point, I'm going to be ready to give you one. And then we really want to single out one person, Michelle Annette, our treasurer. And she has been working behind the scenes relentlessly. She has been a fountain of knowledge. She has been an amazing manager of the WIST budget, taking care of every single line of that budget or Excel spreadsheet. She has been taking load off Karen and my back so that we can focus on other things. She has been amazing. And thank you, Michelle.
And I absolutely wholeheartedly second everything that Shamsi has said, of course. But this was a big job, and these guys were heroes. A few of them, not just Michelle, were more than heroes. They were superheroes. So there is often a point in a big endeavor where we must make a defining choice. The decision to take WIST 20 virtual wasn't a choice, but realizing that we needed a new wing of our organization committee and finding the right person to take this on was indeed a choice. Shamsi and I would like to publicly congratulate ourselves on the incredibly amazing job that we did in asking David Lindelbauer to be our virtual operations and experience chair. We have certainly congratulated ourselves in private a lot of times. David, in turn, this is the command center that David says that he ran this conference from, spearheading a lot of what you experienced over the last 3 days. David, in turn, recruited PhD student Thomas Langrach as a co-chair. And these two created our technical backbone and ran it from this desk and threw in some pretty excellent ACM coordination to boot, given David's privileged contact there. Meanwhile, we had earlier made the similarly brilliant choice of Oliver Schneider and Jasper Trano really to be our web co-chairs. They thought they were just going to tweak last year's website. Ha ha. So we want to ask David, Thomas, Oliver, Jasper to unmask now, please. If you can turn on your videos and join us. And David can tell us what they have to do to actually show up in person.
I think Jasper only needs to show his video. Other than that.
And I went
to panelists.
Are they all in there, Shanti?
Be co-host, David. I had no intention of taking any of the responsibilities. I just needed to be co-host so that I could promote them.
A little bit of magic behind the scenes. Anyway, we want to present the four of you with the UIST 2020 Superheroes Award. We are so grateful for what you have done. And I know that the whole organization committee has said this many times to us and publicly. And everyone there in the audience, next time you see these guys, thank them again, thank them now. This is just an incredible heroic effort that they did. Thank you. So I'm going to say one more thing before we do the final handoff. I am a haptics researcher myself. I split my attention between the 30-year-old engineering and psychophysics haptics community, which has long been very disjoint from HCI, starting to come together a little bit more recently, and HCI. I've put a lot of energy into helping them to bridge because I think that they have so much to learn from each other. I am thus very pleased to share an announcement for World Haptics 2021, which will take place in Montreal in July. As haptics interest here at UIST grows, I urge you to consider submitting your work at World Haptics as well. You will see a quite different take on the haptics innovation there, and they in turn can learn from you. So I hope you will consider doing that. And with that,
phew, we are done officially with UIST 2020. And it is my great pleasure to introduce the UIST 2021 General Chair, Jeff Nichols. Jeff is a research scientist at Apple working in the machine intelligence group. He has worked in industry since getting his PhD from Carnegie Mellon, including IBM and Google. And he has been a long-term member of the UIST community. And I believe he first published his UIST paper in 2002. So welcome, Jeff, I think. I don't see him.
Jeff?
You know what? I think I have.
I'm not doing this again. He's coming.
Remember this? Oh, can you see this? Oh my God. Did you use the wrong spell again, Karen?
Oh my goodness. He turned into a dog. This is not good. I don't think he could do this. Let's try again. Come on, Jeff. Jeff. Oh, phew.
Finally.
That was scary. Okay, Jeff, we think you're going to need these. Okay?
Yes.
Here you
I
go.
think I will. Are we dropping it? Okay. All right, I've got it. Great. Well, thank you. Hopefully that wasn't too crazy. I have a weird, very weird desire for dog treats right now. All right, one moment here while I share my screen. Sorry that is taking a second. And of course, there we go. I hope. All right. Well, thank you very much, Karen and Shamsi. Sorry, there was a little bit of, oh, hopefully you can see my screen. Maybe not. Keynote is not the easiest thing here. All right, I'm just going to share it this way. All right, well, thank you very much. And very happy to talk about UIST 2021. It's going to be an interesting conference. I think still we have a ton of questions about what will happen. I think, going into this conference, huge question about how well a virtual conference would work. Clearly it's worked very well. So I think, from that point of view, that's something that we'll definitely be keeping in mind as we go on to next year. So just want to go through a little bit of the details. This shouldn't take very long. So the organization for next year is myself as general chair. And thanks again, Karen and Shamsi, for the fantastic introduction. We have program chairs, Ranjitha Kumar from UIUC and user testing, and Michael Niebling from the University of Michigan. We're beginning to fill out the rest of the organizational committee. There are definitely still openings though, so if you're interested in volunteering, you can definitely reach out to me either here or on the Discord server. And then, so we still, as part of one of the many questions that we still have, one of them is absolutely location. We don't know if we're going to be able to have a physical conference next year or not. And so we are at the moment still considering physical options. So a good chance that if there is a physical conference, it will be in San Diego, California. There's some chance if we can't get San Diego to work, we might fall back to Portland. And of course, there's also, honestly, a very, very good chance that we end up doing this virtually again. So, so we will see what happens. Hopefully we'll have that announced, in the next few months, but absolutely we are also planning to, so we are planning to have kind of a go, no go decision date. We're planning to do that decision in April. Probably we want to see how IUI, which I know is going to try to have a physical conference, want to see how CHI goes with its hybrid conference. And of course, obviously we want to see just how the state of the world evolves. And so at some point around then, we will make a final decision and make sure that everyone knows whether the conference is virtual or physical. We also don't have a call for papers quite yet. We know that the submissions will be due in April 2021, but where exactly within that month is not certain quite yet. We should definitely have a deadline and a CFP out for you in the next month or two, so definitely look for that. And with that, I just want to say that, well, one, I want to thank again, and I hope everyone is applauding and doing everything, thanking Karen and Shamsi for such a great UIST 2020, and I look forward to seeing you all in 2021. So thank you very much, and see you next year.